So, my friends, you're with the Personal Development Unplugged podcast, where we're going to break down complicated things into simple ways. And this time, this is maybe just confusing. But from confusion comes the aha moments and the excitement. So listen to this. Listen with both your minds and notice what happens when you do.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey, we're back with hopefully one of the longer podcasts. I'm not quite sure how long this is going to go for, but you never know. And that's the whole point of this thing. We have in the past talked about how do you know things? How do you know? It was a great question of how do you know? When you've got an issue, how do you know you've got an issue? But here's the thing. There's so much that you don't know. What? No, really, there is so much that you don't know. And to be honest, there is a flash of the bleeding obvious there, isn't it? Because if you think about it, you don't know what you don't know because you don't know it. But the thing is, there's something that you can use that for. Because I want to change that to, because you don't know what you don't know how good you can be. You don't know how good you can get because you just don't know. Because we just don't have that information, the data to tell us how good we can really be. We just don't know. What are you talking about, Cluffy? Well, let me tell you. Well, over 21 years ago, I enrolled in a hypnosis course. You know that. There was a previous podcast on it where I celebrated my 21st year doing hypnosis. But I did that for a completely different reason. I wanted to learn NLP. And the guy who I was recommended to go to said, you have to learn hypnosis first, Paul. And I said, I don't want to. And he said, you got to. And I said, I don't want to. And guess what? Yeah, I learned hypnosis first because I didn't know. And in the end, I really trusted this guy called Wilf Proudfoot. What a wonderful human being. Unfortunately, he is now looking down upon us, but what a wonderful human being he was, certainly in my world of teaching me hypnosis. For some reason, he just knew hypnosis comes first. If you want to do this NLP stuff and just do what you want to do. And I wanted to do it to improve my business life, my business world, my career. Why would you use hypnosis? Well, blimey, we use hypnosis all the time in business. Everyone does. They just don't know it. See, another one, you just don't know. And I went there. I learnt this hypnosis stuff. And it got me excited. For some unknown reason, it got me really excited. And I started to delve deeper into it because I didn't know it. And the more I got to know it, the more I realized I wanted to know a bit more and a bit more and a bit more than that. And I've just kept doing it for 21 years. And I just still know that I don't know, but I know enough to do what I want to do well. But I'm so excited about learning more because I just don't know how good I can be at this. I think I'm pretty good. In fact, I know I'm pretty good. And that's not ego. I just know by the results I'm getting. But how good could I get? I don't know. But that's not going to stop me, is it? Not knowing. It hasn't done over all these years. You know, I've gone from there to, for business purposes, to, I think at that particular time, I excelled in my little niche of my career. I also then started a little side hustle doing therapy. That side hustle became not only nearly a full-time job of my own, because I had other side hustles going on, but a full-time career for my younger son, and then a full-time career for my middle son. I didn't know. Because you don't know, do you? If I'd have known that, I'd have jumped at it, but they didn't know either. And they still don't know how good they're going to get. They're brilliant at it, but they still don't know how good they're going to get. And I went on from there to become a trainer. And you see, because we don't know how good we're going to get, how to think. If you have a career, how high can you go? How good can you get? You don't know, do you? What about those side hustles? There's so much that is pushed upon people now about having a side hustle. And if you've got a side hustle and you want to do stuff, that's absolutely brilliant. Because I think hobbies, sports, interests, doing anything is a side hustle. But a side hustle, we call it like a part of our career. But everyone, I think, or who's had a successful side hustle didn't know how good they were going to get, how good they were going to be. Think about it. From Google to Macintosh, the Apple label, everything. How did that, you go back through those stories, how they all started. Virtually everything you see as a success now, which is run of the mill, you just think it's already, it's just normal, started off just as a little glimmer in someone's eye, a little imagination, a little dream, never knowing how good they could get. Because even when they dreamed, I believe at the beginning how big they thought they were going to get, they've surpassed that. So everything, I believe, is pretty doable. But think about hobbies, for example. Things that you just like doing. I believe that's where sometimes our passion lies. Good about working on your passions and your passion being your work. That happens so well and good. And we don't have buts here. Following your hobbies, the things that you love doing outside your career. So you don't know how good and how far you're going to get with your career, but how good could you get at that thing that you practice? Whatever it is, whether it's creativity, art, writing, making things. Do you know? No, you don't. What about that sporting, if you like sports? Do you know how good you're going to get? Think about when you first started all of these things. You sucked at it probably. Most of us suck at the things that we really enjoy first off, and it's bloody difficult. Or it seemed so at the time. But now when you look back, you could do that with your eyes closed. Because you're good at it. And when you think how good you are, I can go back to when I was talking about being a trainer of NLP and hypnosis. And when I was a practitioner learning those skills, in those trainings, I would see the trainer do a demonstration of a particular process. And I used to sit in awe of that trainer thinking, I could never do that. They are so gifted. Yeah, they're gifted because they worked at that gift. Because a little time further on, I was doing that stuff. Couldn't dream it. Well, I could. I must have dreamt it somehow to get there. What about learning things? Again, how good can you get at it? How good could you be? Well, the whole point is you don't know. But I do know that you could be better than you think you are, because you just don't know. In fact, we're talking about basically anything, aren't we? Doing anything. Anything that you can imagine doing, you just don't know how good You could do it even if you imagined it way out there. I just know there's a little bit more that you just don't know. Because as you get to learn these things, to practice these things, to have them become like unconscious competence where they just become your second nature to you because they are just a habit that you just do now without thinking. You get in the flow. Things just happen. Well, with that foundation, and that foundation is growing ever stronger, that you can get inspired to do one bit more, learn one bit more, stretch one bit more, experiment, experience that one bit more. Because you see, I don't think you realize you don't know how good you are. Realize. I don't think you do. I don't think you realize you don't know how good you can be. And you don't realize how much better than you think you can be when you think about it. And I'll repeat those a little bit because they're a bit weird, weren't they? But I don't think you can realize you don't know how good you can be. I don't think you can realize you can be even better than you think you can, even though you don't know you can, because you just don't know how much and how better you can be. But you can, if you do it right now. And you see, I was talking about being a trainer of NLP and hypnosis and sharing, demonstrations, sharing what I've learned. And all these things come from that thing, that one little thing, because that's led to so many different things I've done now. And that's not bigging me up at all. It's just different things I could never have imagined being anything like good at. Just knowing that you can be. And I think the most exciting thing is that you don't know. Because if you did know how good you could be, you'd never exceed it because you say, well, that's it. And I just want you to think about, okay, what do I want? What do I want in my career? What do I want in my side hustles? What do I want in my hobbies? What do I want in my sports that I do? What do I want in my interests? What am I going to learn? In fact, in everything I do, what could I just imagine? Well, imagine what it would be like to do any one of those things more than you think you could because you don't know. What would it feel like to look back, having exceeded all your expectations? What would that feel like? Knowing that if you look back and go, wow, I've done all that, but with this feeling of success, of achievement, and you look to the future even more, knowing how far you've come, how much you've done, knowing that you don't know what you can do and how good you're going to get and how good you can be, you can carry on, can't you? So how good are you? How good can you be? Tell me the answer. Come on, tell me the answer. And the answer is, I don't know, Cluffy. But, a little but here. Because I don't know. I'm going to find out. And that's the thing. Because when you find out, you're going to find out that you will never, ever really find out because there's always more. So many wonderful experiences are there for you. And they're in your grasp, they're in your reach. You just have to stretch. How far? We don't know. But you know you can. I wonder what would that feel like? What does it feel like now knowing that in effect you are going to be better than you could ever imagine in anything you do? because you just don't know. It's weird when you don't know things, you can just start thinking about what you don't know because you don't know, but you think you do know. Hey, that might seem a random set of words to you, but I can tell you now, I've spoken to each and every one of you. Your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, and your unconscious mind, your best friend. I know it gets it. And your conscious mind is going to get it too, because your conscious mind is going to start dreaming of all the things now you want to do in every context. Career, side hustles, hobbies, sports, interests, learning, anything and everything. There you go. Go muse that. I did, and that's how I got to thinking about talking to you and sharing it with you. And I'd love to know what you thought of this weird conversation, maybe this confusing. Is it confusing? It's not confusing to your unconscious mind, I know, because we've spoken together. But I wonder, I'd love to hear what your feelings are about this. What are your thoughts about the future? What are your thoughts about your career, your side hustles, your hobbies, your sports, your interests, your learning, your plans, your dreams? How have they been changed? How do you see them differently now? How much more excited are you right now? And what are you going to do right now? I'd love to hear about them. So please send that email to me. feedback@personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. Send that email to me. Let me know. And if there is any sticking points, you could let me know that too, because we'll find a way of getting not only over the sticking points, we'll unglue those sticking points. We'll find a way that just will enable you to get good, as good as you can be, to realize you don't know. Oh, we're back there again, Cluffy. So do that. Do that. There's a song there somewhere, isn't there? Have more fun than you can stand. I do hope your unconscious mind is going to share everything with your conscious mind of all those hows and do's and just feel good. There you go, my friend. A weird and wonderful, confusing, maybe a longer podcast. You get it. I know you do. And you'll hear from me in a short while, another time. So, just before I go, I think I'll be giving you a little heads up to a podcast of the past, so you can see the type of things that we were talking about in the past, if you're new here, or even remind you of what you may have listened to, because you'll always hear it differently, because you're different now than you were then, because you just don't know how far you can go. There you go, we're back again. And then just a little bit about some other stuff. So enjoy. Have a listen to this bit now. Hey, do you remember this? Way back 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Back in June 2018. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you're new. And this will be a little eye-opener to you, because a long time ago, back 3 years ago, it was hashtag 102. And it was all about letting go of the old you. And some people used to say, well, I want to be my old self, my old me. Well, in fact, that old you had some of the issues that you may be carrying around right now. So letting go of the old you and becoming the real you. Anyway, have a listen to the intro. And if you're interested, well, skippity-doo, go all the way back to hashtag 102, letting go of the old you. So what's this podcast all about? Well, it's all about being the real you, but also being better than the real you, but also about dehypnotizing you, which is really strange because I'm also going to do a hypnosis track to go with it. It's all very confusing, but as usual, it may just make all the difference to you right now. Have a listen. There we go. That was the intro. That was the intro we used way back then. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Do go having a look if it's of interest to you. And there's plenty more in the back catalogue. Please do go and shuffle around. And now for the little bit of housekeeping. And just before you go, I know your time is valuable and I'm so grateful that you decide to share it with me. Talking about sharing, we get there. Could you share? Could you share this episode? Of course you can. Because you just don't know, do you? You don't know the effects of sharing this podcast. Because when you do, it does so many different things on so many different levels. It teaches you as you share things. It teaches other people as they get to hear this message, this breaking down of the complicated into easy, doable stuff, especially with the hypnosis and NLP and things like that, talking to both of your minds. So that would be a great thing to do if you could, just at this moment in time, say stop right now, pause, and share this episode right now. That would be awesome. Then, just make sure you've subscribed, because I don't want you to miss out anything. Not one episode, because although I do understand that not every episode will hit your buttons, but unconsciously they will hit your buttons, your good buttons. But also, I don't want you to miss out on that golden nugget, that one aha moment that could and will change your life forever in such a wonderful way. So subscribe and use everything you know from here, all your knowledge that you have from everywhere else and what you learn here. Please do use it. No point in just knowing it. Knowledge without action is, it's nothing, is it? Just knowledge. But with action, you're doing and being who you really want to be. Singing from your own voice and all that wonderful stuff. And also, if you could, 2 things of how you can support me in this little adventure. You could buy me a coffee. If you see the show notes, there's a little clicking button there to buy me a coffee. You just want to share a coffee with me, a beer. Or go to buymeacoffee.com and look for the PDU, Paul Clough. But look on the website, there's always a button there to click. It's a lot easier than me trying to remember the domain name. And also, if you could, please just spend some time looking at paulcloughonline.com. It's my program to spend a lot of time trying to make the best programs for you to ease anxiety, to get you confidence, to increase your self-esteem, to enable you to relax, to sleep deeply, find that inner retreat that you could go to and create all wonderful things. Spend a lot of time doing that, and if you could, it would help support me in this adventure. That would be good. And also know that when you do go there, there's a free hypnosis download straight away, getting rid of anxiety by at least 50, 60, 70% within about 15 minutes. And then also, if you go to paulcloughonline.com/podcast, that's right, you know it. All the hypnosis tracks that are associated with this podcast, they're all free, they're all downloadable, they're for you to keep. Put on any device you like, play them whenever you like. And I'm going to be adding to them very soon, because I've got 1 or 2 things in mind that I'd like to share with you. And they'll be free, with my compliments. So if you could do any one of those, it would be awesome. But if you could do all of them, it would be even awesomer. Anyway, have more fun than you can stand. And thank you so much just for being you. I'll see you next time.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.